Hey, Commissioner Janner, can you hear me?
Yes.
You might want to just make sure you mute in between speaking because we hear a lot of background noise.
You got it.
Thanks.
I think through this way.
All right, good evening. I'd like to call to order the February 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Park Board of Commissioners. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Monica, can we have the roll call, please?
President Gibson?
Here.
Vice President Ruffing?
Here.
Commissioner Ansier?
Here.
Commissioner Jacks, absent. Commissioner Janner, absent. Commissioner Risvold?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
President Gibson, I've been informed that Commissioner Janner has requested to participate remotely due to business purposes.
Thank you.
Move to allow remote meeting participation of Commissioner Janner per Section 7 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Sure.
President Gibson?
Yes, Commissioner Janner, can you hear us? Commissioner Janner, you might still be muted. Can you just verify that you can hear us? All right. I will just note we did hear him before the meeting, so Aaron, are we? Commissioner Janner, we're going to give you a second to see if you can audibly verify that you're there. Yeah, that's... Okay, then I guess, Commissioner Janner, if you can hear us, let us know when you get back. Okay. All right. Monica, are there any matters from the public?
There are not.
Okay, thank you. We will move on to the consent agenda. Monica, would you please read it?
Item 3.1, approve February 13th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. 3.2, approve February 13th, 2025 executive session closed meeting minutes. 3.3, authorize the executive director to issue a purchase order to Play Illinois LLC in coordination with BCI Burke Company LLC in the amount of $99,185 for play equipment for the White Eagle Park Playground renovation project procured through the district's membership in the Sourcewell Purchasing Network. 3.4, authorize the executive director to issue a purchase order to Play Power LT Farmington, Inc. in coordination with Park Creation, Inc. in the amount of $99,835 for play equipment for the Willowgate Square Playground renovation project procured through the district's membership in the Sourcewell Purchasing Network. 3.5, award the contract for the Commissioners Park East Cricket Field Sports Lighting Project to Musco Sports Lighting LLC in the amount of $408,434, and to authorize staff to carry a further 5% contingency for a total authorized expenditure for the project in an amount not to exceed $428,855.70. That is all.
Thank you. Commissioner Jan, are you back with us?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, great, thanks. All right, does anybody have any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none?
Move to accept consent agenda items 3.1 through 3.5.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Risvold?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes.
Move to approve consent agenda items 3.1 through 3.5.
Second.
Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business, personnel policies review.
Good evening. The Naperville Park District reviews personnel and risk management policies annually. The review traditionally occurs in the first quarter and includes staff and legal review. The leadership, finance, and HR teams contributed to the staff review, and I worked with counsel from Ansel Glink on the legal portion of the review. The policies that will be before you for consideration on March 13th were provided in the February 21st weekly packet in a tracked changes format. While I hope the summary of the proposed changes listed in the cover memo were sufficient, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have this evening.
Are there any questions? No, I appreciate the thorough review of the policies and that we stay on top of keeping them up to date.
Yep.
So thank you.
All right, great. You will then see them for approval on March 13th, and the versions that you'll see as part of that packet will have all the changes accepted.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, learning management system.
That's me again. So following the change in plans to implement a new human capital management platform, the HR team identified key functional area modules that required a tech solution to streamline processes for HR, managers, and employees. One of the top priorities was a learning management system, or an LMS. Tracking training completion and expiration is a very manual process currently, impacting not only new hires, but rehires and current employees as well. Marissa Kula, our talent specialist on the HR team, did a fantastic job researching and evaluating LMS options, sourcing potential solutions through research, recommendations from Paterma, and through existing relationships we have with tech vendors. Marissa demoed and spoke with representatives from 7 LMS solutions, specifically evaluating the ability to upload our own content and create learning pathways, the ability of a course content library to be added to our learning paths, a tracking dashboard with both HR and manager access, whether automatic reminders can be set up for the employees, and if HR and managers could, throughout the process, receive notifications as well, and of course, cost. Staff recommends partnering with HSI as our LMS solution. The district has a standing relationship with HSI as we utilize their first aid, CPR, and AED training program, and we've been really happy with that platform. So at the March 13th board meeting, an agreement with HSI will come before you for consideration. The recommendation includes a 3-year partnership, and as such, the expense over the course of the agreement will exceed $30,000. And that's using an estimated headcount of 900 individuals. And the annual expense based on that estimate would be $14,400 plus a $2,100 integration fee so that it can talk to our existing ADP system. The agreement has been reviewed by General Counsel and Paterma's legal counsel, and HSI is currently evaluating our agreement revision requests. Any questions? No? All right,
No, sounds good.
all right, thank you.
All right, so the next one, First Amendment to an intergovernmental agreement between the Naperville Park District and DuPage County for the intergovernmental cooperation and utilization of available resources for partnership projects.
thank you.
All right.
Yeah, that's a long one. So this evening, I shared a handout with the board, which has the draft First Amendment, as well as the last page includes an aerial image, which I'll speak to in a moment. So in December of 2024, Earthworks, the contractor commissioned by DuPage County, completed most of the first phase of 2 phases of work along the west branch of the DuPage River Riverwalk, which exhausted the funds committed by DuPage County for shoreline stabilizations of the 3 sites of DuPage River Riverwalk, Brighton Ridge Park, and Stanford Meadows last year. Earthworks will return in the spring of this year to complete the installation of trees, shrubs, and native plugs in Phase 1 area started in late 2024. The Park District received a cost estimate from Earthworks to complete the remainder of the west branch of the DuPage River Riverwalk Shoreline Stabilization Project Phase 2 for an amount not to exceed $300,000. So going back to the aerial image, identified the area that was completed in 2024, which would be Phase 1 is in yellow, which is just behind the JC's playground along the Riverwalk. And then the red line, as you'll see, is Phase 2 proposed for this year, 2025. So staff identified the benefits of Earthworks completing the remainder of the shoreline stabilization project along the DuPage River Riverwalk, which was permitted and approved by the Park District as one entire maintenance improvement since the contractor performed well on earlier shoreline stabilization projects, and the cost is reasonable for the remaining Phase 2 work because it's based on DuPage County pricing. Naperville Park District and DuPage County staff are collaborating on the First Amendment, the draft that is shared this evening, for review and consideration. And then the First Amendment allows the Naperville Park District to provide funds to DuPage County in amount not to exceed $300,000 for the county to administer the completion of Phase 2 of the project with Earthworks. Staff are exploring funding options to complete the entire west branch of the DuPage River Riverwalk Shoreline Stabilization Project, including Phase 2 in 2025. One option being considered includes shifting the 2025 Springbrook Golf Course Pond Dredging Project in the amount of $310,000 to next year. If there is an interest to proceed, the thought is to present the First Amendment to the Park Board for consideration and approval in an upcoming meeting following review by DuPage County, as well as provide an update on the funding for this project. So just want to share that tonight and see if there's any comments or questions regarding the draft First Amendment.
Are there any questions or comments?
I just had a quick question. We talked about this earlier, but I didn't ask, do we need to carry any contingency for this like we do with other set-aside funding? Like any 5%, 10% contingency?
Yeah,
or is this sort of set in stone?
Yeah. Typically, we would carry a 5% contingency, but based on the existing experience and the type of work being performed, we would feel comfortable not adding the 5% in this case. Mm-hmm.
All right. I think this plan makes a lot of sense. Go ahead.
Are we eligible for any grants for this, either through Park District or DuPage County stuff?
You know, we pursue other grants for other shoreline and other projects. For this particular project, considering the time is of the essence, we have it permitted and we have really good pricing. We would consider that. The only drawback of a grant in this case, it would extend the time that we complete the project, and we have the opportunity to complete the project this spring. And we know over time the cost of completing it is going to increase.
Something I said in legislative committee is this is a great example of how staff here cuts costs without cutting corners. They're really, like, you look for creative ways to these problems that we have or these issues or these projects that you guys want to do. So I just appreciate that, and I think it's a great way to coordinate and work with another governmental agency to get things done for our community. So.
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. DuPage River Trail rubber road improvements.
Yes, so as described at the February 13th Parks and Recreation Committee meeting and relayed in a February 14th weekly packet memo, the Forest Preserve District of Will County staff reached out and expressed an interest in proceeding with the DuPage River Trail. Weber Road Improvements Project. The improvements involve the installation of new trails spanning between the existing segments at Bolingbrook Park District's Indian Boundary Park and DuPage River Park, owned by the city of Naperville and leased and maintained by the Naperville Park District. Recently, Forest Preserve District staff submitted an update draft of the project intergovernmental agreement to the partnering agencies, including the Bolingbrook Park District, the Naperville Park District, and the city of Naperville for review based on input received last year from staff and legal counsels of the respective agencies. The goal today is to present the topic and to receive any comments and or questions for the intergovernmental agreement for the DuPage River Trail Weber Road Improvements Project that was included in the February 14th weekly packet in preparation for presenting an ordinance for authorization of the intergovernmental agreement at the March 13th, 2025 Park Board meeting.
Are there any questions on this item? Everybody's had a chance to look at the packet? Okay.
Thank you.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Hunter Woods Shoreline Restoration.
A contract for restoring the final section of the shoreline of the creek that extends through Stanford Meadows into Hunter's Woods is anticipated to be presented to the Park Board for approval in March. The scope of work for this project includes the stabilization of a section of shoreline in Hunter's Woods. This work will be the final phase for the creek and its shoreline that extends from the pond at Hunter's Woods through the neighborhood and terminates in the detention basin adjacent to Stanford Drive. Stabilization began in 2023 and was completed within the boundaries of Stanford Meadows in 2024. The 2025 improvements focus on the portion of the stream in Hunter's Woods, approximately 600 linear feet terminating at the pond. The restoration work involves removal of invasive and undesirable trees and shrubs, minor grading to ensure a stable slope and installation of native plant seed along the shore. Pending contract approval, work is expected to begin in the spring as the weather permits, with the intent of reaching substantial completion this summer.
Sounds great. Question?
I just had a quick question because I don't know the answer. Once we've finished a restoration project like this, is there an expectation that we won't have to do it again, or we won't have to do it again for a certain length of time?
Yes, so when it comes to shoreline stabilization, really the key, and this is, having the ability to work closely with Director of Parks Tim Quigley and others to ensure that we're maintaining the shoreline, then we should be good to go. In a lot of cases, you'll see that a shoreline may be stabilized, but then it receives really no attention over several years, and then you really got to go back in there and clean it out again.
Question? All right. Golf mower purchase.
Good evening. Included in your February 21st weekly packet was a memo detailing the requested purchase of a bank mower for Springbrook Golf Course, which is part of our 2025 golf capital budget. This is a specialized rotary mower. It will be used to mow high-profile areas around greens, tees, and bunkers, areas our larger production mowers can't reach due to their size. Staff has reviewed different mower options and will be including for the board's consideration at a March meeting the purchase of a Toro Groundsmaster 3500D for $47,407.66, which is within our $50,000 budget for this purchase. The mower price is available using the Sourcewell cooperative contract, and delivery of the new mower, if approved, would be expected later this spring or early summer.
Questions? No? All right, sounds good. Springbrook Clubhouse exterior painting.
Thank you. Also included in the February 21 weekly packet was a memo detailing work plan for the exterior of the Springbrook Golf Course Clubhouse. This project includes repairs and repainting of the exterior of the clubhouse, including the wood siding, soffits, and windows. Staff requested bids for this project earlier this month, and 7 contractors submitted bids, which were opened on February 20th. The lowest, most responsible bid received was within the $30,000 limit for the executive director's approval. So just an update that staff will not be presenting this contract to the board at a future meeting.
Good news. All right, sounds great. Thank you. Fleet vehicle purchase.
Good evening. Staff intend to present the purchase of a 2025 Isuzu NPR HD flatbed truck at a meeting in March. During the February Parks and Rec Committee meeting, it was shared that our current version of the truck, purchased in 2016, was hit by another vehicle in January and determined to be a total loss by Paderma. Unfortunately, the stake bed model with a lift gate is the only of its type allocated to our North Parks and Riverwalk Division and it was not scheduled to be replaced until 2016. As our maintenance team indicated, that this uniquely configured vehicle is used for a variety of tasks, such as the hauling of pallets, equipment, soccer frames, turf mats, and used for the collection of garbage. They are requesting to have it replaced as soon as possible. Staff identified a purchasing contract awarded to a local dealership through the Sourcewell Purchasing Network. Pending board approval, we look to place an order immediately. We were told that the truck would have to be manufactured with an expected delivery date of later this summer. As it's only February, we're still very early in the replacement process, and funds are available to make this purchase. We'll continue to monitor the availability of capital funds throughout the year and then make a team decision on how this affects our fleet vehicle and equipment replacement plan in the coming months. Any questions on that one?
You said it was hit by another car. Is there any insurance involvement?
We work through Paderma, and we do get a reimbursement check, and that's about as far as it goes.
All right. Thanks for the update. 2025 Golf and Park Fertilizer.
So staff anticipates presenting a contract for approval for the purchase of fertilizers for golf and park services for 2025 at an upcoming meeting in March. As shared at the February 13th Parks and Rec Committee meeting, an advertisement for bid was posted in January, and 25 bid documents were requested by vendors. 4 submissions were received at the bid opening on February 7th. After review, staff recommend awarding the contract to Master Blend International LLC, who met all specifications and also provided the low bid. Funds were allocated within both the 2025 golf and park operations budgets to accommodate the purchase. Any questions on that one?
No, which I think leaves everyone's favorite declaration of surplus property.
We tried to condense it down to quarterly. But district staff had identified several items no longer needed for park district purposes, and we anticipate providing a declaration of surplus property ordinance for approval at the March 13th, 2025 regular meeting of the board. At this time, a detailed list of the items supplied by multiple departments is still being finalized and will be provided in an upcoming weekly packet. As is our normal practice, once the declaration is approved, each item would be sold, recycled, traded in, or disposed of.
Sounds good. No questions on surplus property? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do have one more item I'd like to bring up in new business. I know I've gotten a lot of questions lately and heard a lot of discussions about our park policies, our park board policies, particularly the rules that govern our involvement here. One of the policies that I am in strong support of is our commissioner use of facilities and programs, and commissioners receiving certain discounts so that way they can be active participants in our programs. I think it's really important. It's part of our role is to make sure we're engaged with the community. That being said, I've been taking a look, and there are some things former commissioners receive that I think we should take a look at and consider whether it benefits the public at a time when we are continually hearing that our programs are at capacity. We're having more golf rounds than ever before. I'd like to consider whether former commissioners still need discounts or for use of our facilities. I know historically the thought has always been that after you've served on the board, you kind of know the expectations, what we expect of our facilities, and that way you can be a resource going forward, communicating with staff concerns and things you see. I don't think a discount's necessary to still provide that service to our community. Nothing precludes former commissioners from continuing to email us, just as any member of the public can email members of the board or our executive director. So I'd like to suggest we bring that up at our next meeting, add it to the consent agenda, and vote to remove former commissioner benefits from our board policies. Can I have a show of hands for bringing that up at the next meeting? All right. Commissioner Janner, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to add?
No, it's always good to revisit these policies like we have from time to time, so I'd be in support of this.
All right, sounds good. Then we can bring that back. Staff can hopefully update the policy, and we can vote on it in the next meeting.
Yeah, we'll work on updating the policy to bring back to the board for your consideration.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, turn that off. We can move on to department updates.
Good evening. I wanted to remind everyone that the deadline to let me know if you plan on marching in the St. Patrick's Day parade is tomorrow. And also, there is a Finance Committee meeting scheduled next Tuesday, March 4th at 9:15 a.m. at the Administrative Building in the boardroom. That is it. The parade is March 15th.
Great. Thank you, Monica. Finance.
Good evening. I just have two updates for you this evening. At the Finance Committee meeting that is scheduled Tuesday, March 4th, we will have the district's investment advisor, Tom Sawyer, will be attending, and he will present the 2024 investment review. And next, the district received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for its 2023 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. This is an award given by the Government Finance Officers Association, and it recognizes local governments that go beyond minimum reporting requirements to prepare reports that clearly communicate with full disclosure. So this is the 33-year running that the district has received this award. It's been since 1991. And that's all I have for you this evening. Any questions?
Sounds great. Congratulations to staff and everyone that works on that. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Golf.
Hello, a couple updates on the golf side. Well, weather has certainly gotten our staff and many golfers thinking about opening day. A couple of beautiful days this week. Our staff is monitoring the conditions on the courses. Currently, we're still very soft. Conditions are wet from the snow melt and the thaw. We had about 12 inches of frozen soil overall out there, and that's been thawing. The warm and windy days we've had the last couple of days is going to help, and tomorrow. But looking ahead, we got some cooler weather over the weekend and some rain possible. So we'll continue to monitor things. Once we're firm enough to get equipment out there, staff will be again cleaning up the golf courses of debris and getting the courses set up again for golf. When we open again is ultimately dependent on the weather and the course conditions. When we are confident we're ready, though, we'll work with our marketing department, of course, get the information out and make sure everybody's aware of opening dates and course availability. As the courses are progressing towards opening, we have a couple winter projects wrapping up. Both courses have renovations on the restrooms finishing up. A couple of finishing touches to grout and tile that's being worked on this week, and then next week we have plumbers and painters in to finish the install of the new fixtures and complete painting of the interior walls. Work on the restrooms is supposed to reach substantial completion as soon as late next week, and of course with the goal of having the facilities ready for the courses when they open. And then also in our clubhouses, specifically at Springbrook, we had 60 new electric golf carts arrive today. The carts were unloaded this morning, and technicians from the manufacturer were on hand to complete the final checks and install GPS screens. Tomorrow, our electrical contractor will return to install the 60 chargers in our basement, and that'll allow our staff to begin charging the carts, which will have them ready for the golf course when the ground staff determines the courses can open, and of course, when the carts can be available. So good news, happy times, and we're just hoping for continued good weather at this point.
Sounds great. All right. Any questions for Bill?
I just have a curiosity question. How far ahead do you let golfers know when you're going to open? Like, do you let them know a week ahead, or?
We try to give them as much time as possible. Usually it's just a matter of when the conditions are good for the golf course, and then we'll look at the forecast and just try to estimate a good time that we can open. Try to gear it towards maybe late in the week if possible, and then we can get them word out early in the week. That's about what we shoot for.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Human Resources.
Hello. So the HR department is busy getting ready for the spring and summer onboarding of new hires and rehires. It really flipped a switch. It fell off a cliff, whatever kind of thing you want to throw out there, it happened. So the annual Hiring 101 training concluded earlier this week. In this group effort annual training, Marissa, who's our talent specialist, Lisette, who's our HR administrator, Cindy, who is our benefits and HR coordinator, and I present on a variety of internal processes, procedures, and legal matters. preparing supervisors across the district for the upcoming hiring season. And so that our supervisors can apply what they've learned in the training, the district will host 2 seasonal hiring events this spring here at Fort Hill Activity Center for the 3rd year in a row. As we continue to try to improve upon our recruiting efforts, this year representatives from Western DuPage Special Recreation Association and official finders will participate in the events. These organizations support our programs, and it seems like a natural fit. If they're properly staffed, our program participants have a better experience. The events will take place from 1 to 3 p.m. on Monday, March 10th and Thursday, April 3rd. We encourage high school students, college students, and adults looking for part-time job opportunities to stop by and check out our employment opportunities. That's it for this evening. Thank you.
Sounds good. I really like that you're including the official finders in WSRA. That's a great idea. So, all right. Information technology.
Good evening. I've got a few different topics tonight as updates from IT. First, our partners at Haylock Security Labs that do our penetration testing for us also provide us with periodic security briefings, just detailing new events in the cybersecurity world, and the last briefing was last week. A few of the highlights that they brought up to us reviewed the 2024 United Health breach that you may have heard about in the news last year that exposed 190 million records of Americans, including social security numbers, personal info, billing info, health info. And the big cybersecurity take on that was the fact that the bad actors used stolen credentials and there was no multi-factor. So when IT just badgers everybody on those topics, there's good reason. The FS-ISAC Ransomware Essentials Guide was reviewed, and it provides a fundamentals checklist for organizations to help mitigate ransomware risks. Some of those highlights that we were right in line with, a big focus on backups, patching, MFA training, endpoint detection, response technology. So it was really good to see that a lot of those base fundamentals from some of those groups in the financial sector are things that we were doing as well. And then an article from CSO Online covering CISO top 12 cybersecurity priorities for 2025. Some of the big highlights on that were things that we were also doing, upgrading IT to boost resiliency, improving threat intelligence, and enhancing security awareness, all topics that are front of mind for us. As far as not just things thematically that we're working on or conceptually, but hard actions, the last month we've been really focused on replacement to the phone system with final completion of wrap-up items planned by mid-March. The entire day today was spent by the IT department swapping phones district-wide and changing over. So at this point, all phone calls are routing through the new phone system. New phones are about 200 phones district-wide got replaced today. It's been a long day. So. Other network upgrades that we've mentioned before, back-end network equipment replacement continues, and we're also reviewing proposals for new firewall and re-architecture of the way that our buildings interconnect to improve both some resiliency and security while also affecting cost savings over the long run. So we're reviewing those proposals in the next couple of weeks and plan to execute that project in the second quarter. And then finally, just with a lot of the back-end infrastructure projects underway, we're also working through more front-facing technology for staff that'll have an impact on their day-to-day duties. The phones that we mentioned, we've also been replacing PCs over the course of the last year. This summer, we'll be upgrading those to Windows 11. And we're also looking to take some of the phones that we never did upgrade when we went from Verizon to T-Mobile, looking to upgrade those smartphones for staff as well, providing a more consistent experience. So.
Are we doing well on security training?
We are down to 6 individuals that haven't completed it yet, district-wide. That's out of over 200, so we are doing outstanding.
Okay, that
I would
great.
say that most agencies like us, if they start at the beginning of the year, they would be happy to have 70% completion. We're in the 95, 98% range right now, so we're doing really good.
Nice job. Good job, everyone.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Once you get the board on board. Awesome. Well, thank you. Marketing and communications.
Good evening. I have 2 updates for you tonight, both of which are related to IPRA. So the communications and marketing section, which is something that my team and I are very involved in, they have recently added a subgroup about social media. And our communications, rather our creative services manager and our digital marketing specialist are going to be hosting the first roundtable here in Naperville, here at Fort Hill, on Wednesday, March 19th at 2:30. And it's going to be a great opportunity for us to highlight everything that we've been doing in social media, especially since we brought Connor, our digital marketing specialist, on board. So a lot of best practices, sharing a lot of kind of fun new things that we've been doing, and then having an opportunity for participants to network as well. So it's a nice way to kick off that new initiative for IPRA and CNM is to have hosted here. So I'm really looking forward to that. The second thing is, as you know, in 2025, I was part of the IPRA Conference Planning Committee for the Communications and Marketing section, and I'm happy to reprise my role in that regard. So we're actually going to be kicking off that whole process next week with our first meeting. So even though conference was just last month, we're off and running again. So I'm looking forward to being a part of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great job representing the district.
Thanks.
Awesome. Great. Park Police?
There's no report from Park Police tonight.
I thought Director Quigley was good enough to do it. Some payback from Chief Schindelbeck.
I do owe him.
Parks.
So a couple quick updates from Parks. As hard as it is to believe now, just last week we were experiencing sub-zero temperatures and snow. The cold snap did allow us to refreeze the ice rinks and reopen all 4 locations for a few more days. I don't think it's to anyone's surprise, though, given where we're at today with the temperatures and looking at the extended forecast, we're probably done for the year at this point. In addition to working on the ice and performing those snow removal duties, staff have been completing winter pruning with a focus on clearing property lines in several locations. We generally try to provide a buffer zone, often a mowed turf strip between district-owned and private properties. Those disputes on property lines quite frequently, as Director Schutz like to say, there's a lot of feelings involved with those, and they can become costly. So if we can jump on those issues early on and prevent them, it'll save a lot of heartache later on. Our tree services contractor is performing our annual overstory tree pruning, reaching branches higher up than our equipment allows for, moving from north to south and visiting golf along the way. On the park side, we've realized that there are savings to be had by falling behind their lift trucks and chipping branches ourselves rather than paying them to do it. Excuse me. As you may have seen, the video on social media of staff working on the Park Meadow installation at the southwest corner of Ashbury Park. This frequently wet and soggy turf area had previously been sprayed to facilitate the winter seeding. Though our project communication plan had been enacted, thanks to the talents of our marketing team, we've got another way to educate and inform the community about the conversion. Last week's warmer temps coincided with AleFest at Frontier Park. It sounds like the event was a success and well attended. And wanted to give a shout out to Becca in our rec department, who secured volunteer help with post-event cleanup and has already started matching participants with events scheduled throughout the rest of the year. Post-event cleanup can be quite time-consuming, and securing the assistance is a great help. So just kind of wanted to give a little extra notice there. And then finally, an update on the Eagle Street Gateway project. We recently were informed that the project will begin a bit earlier, with construction fencing actually going up on March 6th, and site demo expected to commence as early as March 10th. Staff will need to remove several of our own site features, including benches, garbage cans, plaques, and bollards and shepherd crook lights. We need to remove these items prior to the fence installation, so we've started already, and we'll try to have that all completed before the 6th. Per the bid contract, the project must be wrapped up by August 22nd, and that was to prevent construction from interfering with the last fling event scheduled for Labor Day weekend. We're working with the city to verify that site signage will be set up to ensure that detour routes and project information are available to Riverwalk visitors, and we're just excited to finally see this project happening.
This might be a question, I don't know, but the work for this, it isn't budgeted through us, correct? All the budgeting is through the city and all the contracts are through the city?
The Eagle Street Gateway project, yes, that's all through the city of Naperville and funded through the city.
So outside of our work, like setting up and stuff like that, we don't have any funds going to it?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
Planning and Development.
So I have two items for the board this evening. First one is the 2026-2028 strategic plan. As mentioned at the February 13th Parks and Recreation Committee meeting, staff released a request for a proposal, or RFP, for a firm or for firms to assist with developing the 2026-2028 strategic plan, which is a major organizational initiative for 2025. The Naperville Park District implemented a similar approach from releasing an RFP and commissioning a team to assist with formulating the 2023-2025 strategic plan in 2022. Proposals in response to the strategic plan RFP are slated to be submitted by March 12th, 2025. Staff will evaluate the proposals once received based on the set criteria included in the RFP documents and provide the Park Board with an update regarding the firm that fits the Park District's needs for the project based on the criteria, contract execution process, and overall next steps. Next, I'd like to update the board on the Green Infrastructure Grant Opportunities, otherwise known as GIGO, G-I-G-O, program through the Illinois EPA for the Community Garden Plots Improvements Project with the installation of permeable pavers. This program funds projects to construct green infrastructure best management practices, otherwise known as BMPs, that prevent, eliminate, or reduce water quality impairments by decreasing stormwater runoff into Illinois' rivers, streams, and lakes. The district submitted a grant application for funding to the Illinois EPA's GIGO program in November of 2023 for the installation of a new permeable paver parking lot at the Ron Ory Community Garden Plots. I'm pleased to report we received information that the Park District will be awarded funds to the GIGO program to support this project. A GIGO agreement is slated to be presented at the March 13th, 2025 Park Board meeting for approval. We requested a grant in the amount of $785,308 for the cost of both sections of the parking lot conversion of the main central entrance and south access area toward the Bill Young athletic fields along West Street. That total amount will be included in the grant agreement. So just an update on that. Thank you.
That leaves us with Recreation.
Good evening. So the Fort Hill membership base continues to climb. We are pushing 9,000 members, which is probably about a 3% increase since January. This winter, the track has attracted a lot of interest here at Fort Hill. Compared to last year, usage is up 32%. The track supports the members, but it also offers daily drop-in use and free track times for residents. Participants within the WDSRA program, School District 203 Connections program, and the School District 204 Steps program also utilize the track during the winter months. Spring registration will take place this upcoming Monday, March 3rd at 8:30 a.m. for residents and Thursday, March 6th at 8:30 for non-residents. As a reminder, this registration does include summer camp programs. Program information is available for viewing on our website now. Staff are getting ready for the start of the spring soccer season at the end of March. We have 2,635 NYS participants and 126 Premier teams participating this spring. The Premier Team League is up 13 teams compared to last spring, but we continue to see a decline in the upper age levels participation in NYS. We believe the older age groups continue to seek more competitive play. This year, we introduced a young fours division of soccer, and registration has proved to be very popular with 13 teams registered. The division was created to support those NYS age children who missed the cutoff for the fall participation, so it's been a really good thing. Priority garden plot registration has closed, and open registration for new gardeners will open on Tuesday, March 18th for residents, and Thursday, March 20th for non-residents. New this year is the opening of 88 new no-till year-round plots. To date, 68 of the current plot holders have transferred into these plots. So we're really excited. It shows the interest is there. If all 88 plots fill this year, we will assess the need to add more in 2026. Becca, our volunteer manager, in cooperation with the 3 parks divisions, will kick off a new initiative this spring, making it easier for volunteers to assist out in the parks on a reoccurring basis. Beginning in April through the month of November, volunteers will have the opportunity to assist 3 times per month on specific dates and times out in the parks. The opportunities will vary each week and could include projects like mulching, weeding, planting, and litter picking. The opportunities will be posted on our website and promoted through the marketing department. Centennial Beach, preseason preparations are underway. Discounted memberships are on sale now through Memorial Day. The beach will begin the cleanup and drain down process the week of March 17th, weather permitting, and the hiring of staff is in progress. We have 52 guards who will be participating and are hired, ready for training that begins at the end of April, and we are continuing to take on more. Once training is complete, our goal would be to retain 50 to 55 guards to start the season. Any questions? You can tell we're getting into spring. It's getting busier.
Yeah, it's all exciting updates. Any questions? No, it sounds great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
All right. Well, then our next scheduled meeting is March 13th, 2025, 7 p.m. here at Fort Hill Activity Center. We do have executive session.
Move to adjourn to executive session to discuss land acquisition per Section 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Ruffing?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ansier?
Yes.
Commissioner Janner?
Yes.
Commissioner Riswald?
Yes.
President Gibson?
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone.